For years now, the prospect of development in the north area of Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue has been highly dreaded by citizens and environmentalists. With the recent purchase of about 35 hectares by a private developer in this same area, the protection of one of the last remaining green spaces of the island of Montreal is an important concern.
So Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, like any other city, had to come up with an urban plan, and we presented a preliminary urban plan which showed the protection of the eco-territoire, but of course development of mainly housing outside that area and higher density.
Density would be doubling, that was double of the size we have at this moment. So to us was like a lack of respect, presenting us that PPU and also we were supposed to be involved in that PPU and they didn't do nothing regarding that.
They also sold part of the land to a developer to develop. So this is what the Quebec government did, our Quebec provincial government. Really it's their responsibility to conserve land in the province of Quebec.
There tends to be a thinking on the part of our planners and our politicians that nature and the cityscape are incompatible and don't belong together, right? And I think we need to turn that around. I think we need to evaluate that properly. People can live in harmony with nature. People need, of course, education as to how they can live compatibly.
And Montreal can find the money. If they're paying 30% more, as we're seeing coming out in the Charbonneau Commission for various construction projects, now that they are claiming that they're not going to allow that to happen anymore, they can use whatever money they were wasting on that for protecting green space.
Montreal has an enormous deficit. If the old norms are 12%, they've now been moved to 17% of the territory of the jurisdiction needing to be conserved. Montreal has less than, perhaps a quarter of that, about 4%, right, overall throughout the island. This is why I'm talking about this extra jurisdictional sense of responsibility, right? When it comes to a municipality, they have to be thinking about that broader context.
Canada is largely suffering from the effects of deforestation. The greenland areas are already thinning and are slowly going into the realm of extinction. Almost 3/4 of our natural vegetation has almost already been destroyed, calling for an urgent need to conserve the natural resources.
We absolutely need these places for the general population.
In my opinion, natural areas like the one in Los Alormes and Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue will only grow in value. Their value to the population in general will only go up and up because areas like that are becoming more and more rare in the area. So the rarer they get, the more value they're going to have. Mm-hmm. And all kinds of studies now are revealing the immense health benefits that come from living near green space. I mean, it's remarkable. Your life can be extended longer by living near a large green space.
A recent study led by the Institut National de Santé Publique au Québec about green spaces and public health showed the positive impacts nature can have, whether on psychological well-being by diminishing depression, antisocial behavior, and the problems related to crime, or on physical health by helping hypertension and high blood pressure. The impacts are truly impressive.
The driving force, in policy making for municipalities is the revenue stream, the fiscal revenues that come from property taxes and so on. And, if that comes at the cost of people's well-being, if there's a mindset that will keep your taxes down, and that'll be the benefit that accrues to you as we go on to develop the rest of the town, how does that measure against what is lost for those particular people in terms of the benefits they get from having that close communion with nature? Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue needs really to review what it's doing with its PPU in consideration of that. And as I'm saying, you know, it's part of the agglomeration, it's part of the CMM, and it has to be thinking beyond its own territory to how it contributes to the broader well-being, you know.
Residents will also see the consequences of this project on their overall quality of life. The additional thousands of people will bring with their arrival various problems.
Regard the traffic impact. If we double the size of the project here, the traffic would be serious issues. And the other one on the traffic, we cannot have more buses. We've been working, a lot of people, they've been working a lot on that files, and la STCUM will not provide us more buses. We do have a map, existing map, and the city, we're aware of that. We're having a sliding land here, some spaces, and they were building on sliding land. So to me, that's another lack of respect. So can you imagine? And building houses on wetland, we were very wary about that because we went through a lot of problems with water in our basement.
Undoubtedly, the consequences would be even more important on animal life. 70% of Earth's land animals and plants live in forests, and many cannot survive the process of deforestation.
There is animal, and I've seen it myself, there is animal life making use of that field area, that meadow area. There are signs that there are foxes, coyotes, and raptorial birds. Deer actually wander through there. Biodiversity loss. That to me is the real problem. Biodiversity is the wellspring from which all the other environmental benefits derives. It's indirectly an environmental issue, but it addresses a municipal model, a municipal fiscal model that is dysfunctional. You know, you're taking from the new people coming in to pay for the old people that are established there, right? And eventually, like any good pyramid scheme, that collapses. And this is what I'm talking about. Eventually you run out of territory to develop, you've got no place for those new revenues, and then you've got to think about what doing right. And you don't address one dysfunction, fiscality, by resort to another dysfunction, which is destroying the quality of surroundings for people and the wildlife that will be in those natural spaces at the same time, right? You've got two dysfunctions operating at the same time.
But what can be done to restore the care and protection of the environment?
So if it places the environment at the foundation of all of our political structures, that I think solves the problem. Because instead of it being what is often referred to in economics as an externality, everybody remembers that it's the base upon which we all, it's the base upon which we all live our lives. We can't live without oxygen that is produced by plants. The less plants and trees, the less oxygen we have to breathe, the dirtier the air will become, the more likely we will die of various environment-related diseases, and the lower our quality of life will become. And I think this is becoming clearer and clearer to people, and it will only become more and more obvious as time goes by.
You know, we need new thinking. We need people that are committed, that are deeply ingrained with a new kind of economic thinking.
And the question we need to ask ourselves, do we need more houses?
I think everybody, nobody can divest themselves for the responsibility of protecting that living fabric, including Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue. So the PPU has to be daring. We all have to be daring. We all have to be willing to make a few sacrifices. invitation to the Council of Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue is don't just narrowly stick to the new norms that you're not addressing anyway right now. I'd ask you to go beyond that, because you have a responsibility, to do more. We all have a responsibility to do more. I have a responsibility to do more.